The UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues related to economic and social development, culture, the environment, education, health, and human rights is, in other words, a broad range of sectors of importance to Indigenous peoples that the Permanent Forum deals with. According to its mandate, the Permanent Forum will, 1. Provide expert advice and recommendations on Indigenous issues to the Council, as well as to programs, funds, and agencies of the United Nations through the Council. 2. Raise awareness and promote the integration and coordination of activities related to Indigenous issues within the UN system. And 3. Prepare and disseminate information on Indigenous issues. The Permanent Forum is a UN committee that holds a 2-week annual session at UN headquarters in New York in April or May. It held its first session in the year 2002, and its secretariat was established under the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs in 2003. The forum has an unprecedented membership, respecting the idea of equality between Indigenous peoples and states. This is unprecedented in the 75 years of the UN, where, for all formal purposes, states are those who propose and decide, and after all, the UN is an organization of states that use the organization to pursue what they perceive as their interests. It is always states that nominate experts or representatives on the various UN bodies, except in the case of the Permanent Forum. How does this idea of equality between states and Indigenous peoples manifest itself in the Permanent Forum? 8 of the members of the Forum are nominated by states, and 8 are nominated directly by Indigenous organizations, according to the 7 Indigenous Sociocultural regions. The parent body of the Permanent Forum, in other words, the Economic and Social Council, in consultation with the Bureau of the Council, selects among those nominated by Indigenous organizations. The idea of experts is not uncommon in UN bodies. They are persons with knowledge on the topic dealt with by the committee concerned and are elected in their personal capacity and not as representatives of states. This gives expert bodies of the UN considerable leeway in their deliberations and recommendations. Another interesting point in the membership of the Forum is that the Indigenous nominated experts are from the 7 regions identified by the Indigenous Peoples Movement itself and accepted by the UN as categories. Those are Africa, Arctic, Asia, Central and South America and the Caribbean, North America, Pacific, Central Europe, Russian Federation, Central Asia, and Transcaucasia. The latter region used to be called former Soviet Union. This is interesting because at international level at the UN, states see themselves in 5 regions: African states, Asian and Pacific states, Western European and other states, Eastern European states, Latin American and Caribbean states. In other words, we see here again the corrective exceptionalism regarding Indigenous peoples' issues at the UN that I spoke about earlier in the course. According to its mandate, the Forum is to take decisions and adopt recommendations by consensus. Consensus means that decisions and recommendations need to have, if not the unanimity, at least the tolerance of all 16 Forum members. In other words, if one member strongly disagrees and can't live, as we often say, with the proposed recommendation, the recommendation is dropped. This consensus decision-making rule that the 16 members of the Forum have to follow was a kind of balancing requirement that states established when they created the mandate of the Forum. It is not that common for states to propose Indigenous persons as members of the Forum. It also sometimes happens that in the Forum we can have 2 persons from the same country, as is always the case with the Russian Federation and as was the case with Canada at some point. In other words, 1 Indigenous nominated member and 1 state nominated member. Based both on the mandate and the membership of the Permanent Forum described above, many see the Forum as a hybrid body in the UN, one where states are willing to cede some power, at least at a symbolic level, and to establish a more egalitarian dialogue with the indigenous peoples of the world.